I hit the button.
We're back.
Welcome back. Another Monday. Welcome to the
Modern.
Scale Builders Guild, Harley Designs.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, is your apartment on the first floor or the second floor?
I'm 10 feet higher than everyone else.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So it's funny you mentioned that. When I signed this lease, there is a thing that was like this like property is in that 100-year flood area, and I was like, oh, whatever. uh,
Come to find out.
Turns out it's kind of serious, but no, in my area there's no flooding. So thankful, lucky. I had my
Yeah.
dad actually call. He's like, "Hey,
Your dad never calls, so that's weird.
yeah, we talked a bit this morning, but yeah, no, all's fine over here." Um, yeah, pretty tragic stuff. Uh,
For sure.
I was what was it, Friday? I was pretty bored, so we ended up driving around. Or was it Saturday? I don't know. This weekend's kind of a blur. I didn't do anything. Ended up driving around, looking at like the local creeks I'll take bear hiking at. Um, and then I go on the other side of the road and I hear water, but I look at the creek bed and it's just puddles. And I was like, what is this sound coming from? And literally like 1 foot wave of water went going through. So
Hmm.
it's kind of so yeah. Um, there's no dirt. It's all rocks, so the water just like flows over that at a rapid rate. So I see
Yeah.
why things, it does. I think that's the first time that's happened to that or happened. That's happened here since I moved here, but I see how serious it can get like pretty quickly.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I've seen tons of videos obviously the last couple days and it's like, dang, like I could see how it could catch people off guard pretty quickly if you didn't know what was going on or didn't have any type of heads up or anything.
yeah, I think the stuff out west of town. I think it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. So I mean, dude,
Yeah, I
I
saw a
felt
video of what's is that Lano that you guys crawl at every now and then. I
yeah.
saw a video of that like a
It was the
before and
bridge.
after. Yeah,
Yeah, so that bridge will crawl. It's like 20 feet below that bridge.
yeah, it wasn't
Just
anymore.
no, not at all. Um, yeah, I mean, for out there, I think that area is like prepared for that, but some of those others, the, I think like disaster relief, preparedness in me is like, how do those people not know to evacuate so quickly? Or like these areas, it's a creek bed, and then like I was reading some comments and people are like, those cabins have been there for like 100 years. So
Yeah.
I think it was like
Well,
pretty abnormal.
and there were some areas that never really saw. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of rain in that specific area, but it rained a lot,
The
upstream, and all of a sudden the water's
desert
there.
stuff, man.
Yeah,
Desert rain. That doesn't take much.
yeah,
That's it's pretty
um,
tragic.
yeah. Wes is in Austin, so I mean, you guys got a bunch of water there, but
Yeah.
it's
Um,
not as bad as it is west of you.
no, I do think the local creeks were pretty burdened by that influx of water, though. There's this creek downtown called Shoal Creek. Um, it was right on like the cusp of like touching buildings, like the skyscrapers. It's pretty serious, but there's
Yeah.
Lake Travis is one of the higher. It's one of the lakes like two dams up or whatever. It filled up 10 feet overnight, and this is
Wow.
like a pretty decent body of water. So it filled up 10 vertical feet. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, think about people's boats and piers and all that stuff out there. None of that stuff, a lot of people's piers are anchored, to the ground. So even if they're not, even if they're not directly anchored to the ground, they don't have 10 foot of uh, slop or play or anything in them.
I we we went to the some of the lakes yesterday. Those floating slips that are anchored, they just it's like someone flushed a toilet, dude.
Hmm.
um, it's probably gonna be bad news for a lot of insurance claims. I don't.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
that what it's doing?
I don't know how many people insure their piers, but
Yeah.
I've never met anybody that had insurance on a pier. I don't know if it's homeowners insurance covers that stuff or who
Nah.
knows. Boats,
Um.
piers, jet skis,
Yeah.
houseboats, all kinds of stuff just gone with the wind.
Yeah. Fortunately, that stuff's just like tangible items,
Yeah,
like the freaking like girl camp.
that's pretty bad.
That's not good.
That's the that's the tragic events there. You know,
Yeah.
obviously we're talking about boats and piers because that's what's affected in Wesley's area, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's nasty stuff.
Like it's
And
it's
now
still cloudy here. It's so weird.
now North Carolina is getting pounded by the rain too, so there's a bunch of flooding in North Carolina again now too
I was say, didn't they just get a hurricane like
today.
less than a year ago?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I think it's been a year. I think it has been a year now.
Pretty wild. Pretty wild. Hopefully everyone stays safe.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Change the topic, and on a lighter note, we got some more body mount sliders on the site now. We talked
Yeah.
about them last Monday, and I finally actually did it today. Um,
Yeah.
those
Mission
are those
accomplished.
are on there. Mission accomplished. Um, and we can also talk about how FedEx is just the absolute worst shipping company in the world, dude. So this package for this Victory was supposed to be delivered last Monday. It was out for delivery last Monday, and it didn't show up Monday. It didn't show up Tuesday. It didn't show up Wednesday. It was out for delivery every day. Thursday, FedEx pulls in, and he's like, "I got one package." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And the guy pulls it out of the truck, and I'm like, "That's an awful large box," and he looks like he's struggling quite a bit for the part that should be in that box. Whatever. Not going to judge somebody on how they pick up a box, but whatever.
Um,
Um,
back slumped and sharp
yeah,
motions.
yeah. Pick up
Okay,
with
good.
lift with your back, strong twisting jerking motions.
Like a
Um,
crane.
yeah. So so he sets it outside the door and he walks in for me to sign the thing, and I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, sign the thing, and he leaves. And I'm like, okay. So I walk out there and I go to pick the box up, and I'm like, no, this is really freaking heavy. Like, that's not the correct part. So I look at the label, and it's a package addressed to someone else in a different freaking town. I'm like, what the hell is this? So I
Yeah.
looked at the label, and it was from Weber, like Weber Grills. It was like a replacement griddle top or something. And I'm like, gosh dang it. But luckily, that customer's phone number was on the shipping label. So I called the guy, and I'm like, hey, I told him, who I was, where I was, and that the package had been delivered to me. And he's like, I've been waiting on that all week. I was like, huh, I've been waiting on a package all week too. So if when you get home, my package is on your doorstep, that'd be cool. But he ended up coming and getting the box from here instead of me giving it back to FedEx. He was only like 20 minutes away, so whatever. He just came and got it.
Yeah.
But then FedEx delivered that package today, the proper thing that I was waiting on for an entire week. And the eBay seller had listed it improperly, incorrectly. Um, the Victory motorcycles, this is a Victory Vegas Jackpot, a wide rear tire. The Victory Vegas and 8 Ball have a narrow rear tire. And the part I need is the lower frame rail, and it's got like this hook bend in it. And it was a standard Vegas part, not a jackpot part, so it doesn't have the clearance to go around the swing arm like it's supposed to. So it collides with the swing arm and the belt. So I still can't finish this bike that's been here for 2 weeks that the customer wanted back last week before the weekend. So that's
Nice.
super duper awesome. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Terrible. Did anybody snag a Truck of Freedom? I have not snagged a Truck of Freedom. Salt Pond did not get one either. Josh is here. Yeah. None of the shipping companies care anymore. I agree with that. Most of them don't care. My UPS guy, my normal delivery UPS driver, is really good, but that doesn't mean that the company as a whole cares worth a damn. He's also a customer, so like we have I took care of his 4-wheeler for him pretty well when he's brought it in for service a couple times. So I feel like he reciprocates that level of service. So he's good, but the rest of them are just don't really care.
I blame the workforce, man.
And I think that's just an all-around workforce thing too, though. But
Even driving, other things like manners at restaurants. Just
yeah,
people suck.
yeah. Spent my Trucks of Freedom money on a P1S. RC Fabricator bought a printer. That's gonna put Scale Builders Guild out of a job.
It's because you put those body mounts on the site
Yeah,
files.
yeah. Now he's got something to print. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I actually need to print a set of the. I'm gonna look at the models and see which ones will fit the JL body, the Lexan JL body. I'm putting on my S1 the best, and I'll just print those. That way, there's at least some rocker support.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Jeep, FUBAR. Well, I didn't FUBAR my Jeep, but I might have done something silly to my Jeep. I was crawling on my boulder pile out back when I got here this morning because, sometimes you just have to crawl the boulder pile in your parking lot. And I might have bent the tie rod pretty good. I might have, center punched a big boulder and...
You rammed the rocks.
Well, it was mostly when I was backing off of the rock.
Oh.
And then, I was backing off of a rock and it, fell down and forward underneath an undercut right onto another rock. So my Yeti Steer Smarts tie rod might have a slight U-shape beyond the normal U-shape to go around the diff cover.
So you're towed in a little bit now.
Yeah, and the steering wheel's 10 degrees off too. I'm like, damn it!
So, the bent tire rod, all right, cool, but the steering wheel not center, nope, gotta fix it.
Yeah, well, and the really cool thing about the tie rod being off center is that the Jeep knows that the steering wheel's not centered, so it's throwing all kinds of other alarms and lights, and it's got a steering angle sensor on it. Yeah. So the EPS light and all kinds of stuff is on now too, so that's cool.
Pretty good start to your Monday.
Yeah, so then I got in my truck to drive my truck to lunch today, and the check engine light was on, which is never ever on. So when I got back from lunch, I scanned it, and it had a intake air temperature sensor code, I'm like, that's weird. It's never had that code before. So I tried to clear it and it wouldn't clear. So I'm like, okay, well, clearly there's some sort of an issue. So I popped the hood and the wiring harness had been molested by some sort of creature in a couple of places. So I had to fix that too.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that was cool. Because I didn't get enough in Utah. Basically, yeah, you gotta bring your own boulders to Indiana though. You can't. You have to place them where you want them.
He says boulders, but he probably has asphalt slabs.
No, they're like actual like you need an excavator to move them boulders. They're like between 36 and 60-inch tall each of them. They're like you would use to line a property line with to instead of having a fence.
He Jeeps on 37s out.
Yeah, yeah. Keep the Jeeps on 37s out of your yard. Works pretty well, apparently.
You're starting that business, and you're just R&Ding your
Yeah,
product.
yeah. I need to R&D a new tie rod. Apparently, that's not.
Yeah, that's the development part.
Yeah,
The research is
is bending a bunch of them.
Development.
The research is finding out if Steer Smarts will warranty it after I bent it.
And then development is possibly your credit card.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it'll be.
That's what developing a debt.
Yeah. You can only bob and weave from owning a printer for so long in this hobby. Can't believe I waited so long. I said the same thing when I bought my Bamboo. I mean, I've had printers for, 11 years now. 11 or 12 years now I've owned a printer, but I never cared for it. It just kind of was always a pain in the ass. But the Bamboo made it pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, the Bamboos made it to where like nerds don't have to own
Yeah,
3D printers.
yeah.
Now, from what Josh and Matt's doing, looks like nerds don't have to have desktop. You don't have to be a nerd to have a desktop CNC.
I'm curious about the CAM system, the machining strategies with that machine they're using, because it seems pretty intuitive because Matt can figure it out. I don't know how much he's leaning on Josh for it, but
Email me the file, please.
yeah. How do you set this up?
So,
Don't ship a Trucks of Freedom to Canada because you get nailed with $366 in taxes for a RTR or builder's kit made in Taiwan, which is not part of Canadian tariffs.
wait, Canada has tariffs too?
Well, yeah, U.S. to Canada, the taxes, duties, and taxes.
Oh.
I
read
don't
that
use their
as
cam.
Fusion.
I just use. Yeah, I don't use their cam. I just use Fusion. Matt is finding his way through Fusion toolpaths as well. Oh, that's good.
I read that as Fusion toothpaste at first.
So did I, actually. I was like, the hell is he talking about toothpaste until I actually read it. I feel like Fusion, so Josh can attest to this. I'm sure they use Mastercam at work. I tried, when I got the big lathe, I tried to use Mastercam. And for me, somebody who was using Fusion already for the mill, going to Mastercam felt like I was trying to do Windows 98 shit. Like, there's so many hidden menus and so many things that you have to click to get to somewhere else to click to get to what you need to do. And it felt like the tool libraries weren't very intuitive to me. But like Fusion, other than setting up your tool library, because you have to have the tools set up in the tool library before you can really do anything. But Fusion, it's like you start at the top left of the screen and you work your way to the right, and it's done by the time you get to the end of the screen. Where Mastercam, it just felt like I was clicking in circles trying to figure shit out, and it was terrible. So I think, depending on what the Carvera's cam system is like, Fusion should be a reasonably easy thing for people to figure out once they get the general idea in their head about how it goes. I mean, creating the part is one thing. You have to be able to design the part or be able to pull a part in and understand what you're trying to do. But the toolpath stuff always kind of seemed pretty intuitive to me on Fusion. 9 out of 10 machinists agree. Only got hit with 288 in taxes. Still waiting for delivery. Still, man. Ow! Holy farts! I just got a splinter underneath my fingernail. Ow! I'm bleeding. Bleeding on stream. I pulled a Harley Designs. Ow! Damn it!
See it, dude. Oh god,
It's
we're gonna
bleeding.
get demonetized. Stop that.
It's bleeding. Even still, $288 in taxes. That seems like astronomical. You already paid, whatever $500 or whatever for the truck that you bought. To have to pay another almost $300 or $350 in taxes on top of that is just like, damn.
Dude.
Plus the Canadian dollar to US dollar conversion makes it seem even worse too.
Is it more is it worth it to just drive, meet someone at the border and do like a
secret
trip?
Yeah, meet somebody along the border that's not like the port of entry. Can you like Amazon drone something over the border and drop it? Or like cartel
expert, but I don't think you'd be flying it.
Like cartel style, fly in an airplane across and just boot shit out the door. I tried Mastercam, but really don't like not having my model linked to my cam. That is something else too.
Hey, they're not toys, dude. Knock that off.
Alberta has no PST tax. Not sure what other Canadian province tax. Now we just need the sweat and tears to have the trifecta. Well, you're not going to get sweat today. It's actually very pleasant outside right now. It's like 75 with a light breeze and like 50% humidity instead of the 96 it was the other last Monday. 96% humidity.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Actually, it was humid all last week too here. It's kind of, if you're not in direct fan, there's just literally just sweat just pouring off you. It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah. Well, like I said last Monday, that's the general consensus of being inside my shop now with no AC. It's like, damn, I didn't realize how nice the AC was after 8 years of having it in the other shop to go somewhere that doesn't have it. So that's very high on my upgrades list is AC.
Are you saving quite a bit? Not worth it.
I don't know. I'm definitely less productive when I'm soaked in sweat and angry than.
That is true.
Yeah.
I can agree with
you guys have AC in your shop or no?
Hell no. Hell no.
That sucks.
No. Yes. And I'm in the back corner or the end of the building. So we get I get quite a bit of mosquitoes. So I have a lot of
cool.
Cool. Yeah, it's super cool. I got bites on the back of my legs because you're leaned over.
Yeah, yeah.
It gets you when you're, as if being
the most vulnerable
for hours wasn't bad enough. Might as well bite you.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic.
Toby, what's going on? Cool down to 83 here now, was 95 and 98% humidity. That's what it was all week last week here. Missed the opening. Does Wes have floaties and life jackets close in case of flash floods?
Um, I do have life jackets now, yeah, because of the paddle boards. You're supposed to
Yeah.
have them. I actually, funny, some kayakers went by. They were rental kayaks, so like people didn't care about them. Basically, they're just strapping life jackets off the back of their canoe. So I saw, trash, someone's littering, and it just turned out to be perfectly fine life jacket. So I got that for free.
I mean, it's kind of like your first paddleboard too. Just somebody
Yeah.
littered it, and you
I'm just
you
cleaning up. I'll leave the place cleaner than when I found it.
yeah. Somebody's garbage is your treasure.
Yep, I'm actually gonna post that paddleboard. I took pictures right before the stream. I'll post it up for sale. I'm trying to break even. I want the paddleboard, this newfangled hobby I've acquired. I want to break even on that.
I mean, hell, if you jumped out in the river right now, you wouldn't even have to paddle to go all the way to the southern border.
I'd get a whole boat actually.
Well, yeah, you could do that too, but I meant if you jumped on the paddleboard, you could end up in the ocean pretty quick without even paddling.
Yeah, it's a paddleboard, not a surfboard.
Just lay down.
Dude, I saw. We did check out some of the lakes yesterday. Some of the debris is. I don't know who's gonna clean that up. There is houses, houseboats, docks, just mangled in like. I guess you could. Quick visual would be like a lake cul-de-sac where all the water swept everything in. It's disgusting. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a mess for a while.
it's like that lake in North Carolina that just was covered in logs. It was just solid looking. It looked like a log yard.
Let me see what this dude is just chewing on. I didn't like the sound of that.
Bears being a bad doggo, huh? Oh man, yeah. Thankfully, Wesley is not in a super floodplain area, and his apartment is fairly high off the ground, so shouldn't be an issue at this point. We'll see what he comes back with Bear chewing on stuff.
No, all right. So I had this. What do they call it? A cowhide. It sounded weird the way he was chewing on it against the like wood floor.
Yeah.
Suspicious.
Did you see the storm that rolled across Lake Tahoe a few weeks ago? Lake Tahoe, Las Vegas, I mean, they all got absolutely hammered by a windstorm, which that was like 2 days after I was driving home from Vegas. But Josh can attest to how strong the wind was between Vegas and St. George the day that it was the Thursday before the We Rock event. Dude, I bet it was 50, 60 mile an hour, just steady wind on 15. I think it's 15 between Vegas and St. George. It was pretty rowdy. Did I tell you about my inner fender scaring the shit out? I did. I told you about the inner fender scaring the shit out of me. The wind was just beating the tar out of the frame rail. I thought the front end of the Jeep was coming apart, and then I go and bend it all apart on my own. Saw a house floating down the stream, and there was people still inside. Crazy stuff. It's wild that, like, I mean,
The people
it could just pick a but it could just like it just wipes a house off the foundation. I don't know how the stuff is built out there because, like, I mean, our houses here, if it's, everything's bolted to the concrete structure, but I guess with enough current, it's just going to rip the, bottom board off the foundation or just yank the lugs out of it and float it on down the river.
There's the creek where I take Bear, there's a rock that's probably the size of my SUV. It moved 20 feet. Like it's a rock solid.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. Water is a pretty I don't know. It's I can build vehicles. I don't know the fluid dynamics and forces.
Yeah, I did see one video of a bridge that had gotten hit by a bunch of debris, and it shifted the whole bridge, like the deck of the bridge, like 14 inches or something like that. It just slid it sideways on the piers. Like, it didn't look fractured or broken, and to be honest with you, the transition from the road to the bridge looked way better than any bridge transition in Indiana, still, after the bridge had shifted. So, like,
Not
the
bad.
water had some force to move that sucker, because that's a lot of concrete and a lot of structure underneath it to just move it over.
Yeah.
Couldn't even feel the wind in our beast of a Tahoe with that godly 5.3. Yeah, that wind was pretty solid. And then, like, in Vegas, it knocked down all kinds of telephone poles, whatever, all down whatever road it was. I don't even remember the name of the road off the top of my head, but it was like a mile or two of just every single pole was broken off and laying in the road from the wind. Pretty wild.
Mother Nature.
Yeah, sounds like the Mount St. Helens aftermath. That's going to be the
body mounts are on the side.
yeah, that's going to be the next thing. Is one of these volcanoes is going to go off, and it's going to be a hell of a shit show that comes with a volcano going off. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think there's any volcanoes by me.
I don't think there's any by me either. Yeah. We just got to worry about the nuclear plant in Michigan City or whatever it is. I don't know if, I mean,
there's actually a couple. There's Cook Nuclear, and then there's that Michigan City one.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of the one in Michigan City.
All I know is the water that comes out of the coolers. It's like hot tub temps even in the winter. Ask me how I know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, it doesn't do a whole lot to heat up the water temperature of Lake Michigan because it's so damn big.
No.
I'm curious. I'm curious what the Lake Michigan water temp is right now.
Yeah, you probably still can't go swimming there. Well, I mean, you can. It's just cold.
Southern Lake Michigan water temperatures at the Chicago shore is 61. Michigan City is 58. The highest recorded temperature is the Chicago Buoy at 71 and the South Mid Lake Buoy at 70. But like my pool last week was 95. So
that's almost too hot to be a hot tub.
yeah, we were putting cold water in the pool to cool it down a little bit because it wasn't refreshing at all. It was 95 outside and 95 in the pool. You're just like, well, I was wet outside the pool or I'm wet inside the pool, so
Yeah. The only downside is you could drown in one but not the other. That's the only difference.
Texas flooding and the Indonesian kids on the bow of the boats is all I saw on Instagram this weekend. If you guys watch Super, if you guys watch motocross, Jet Lawrence won Redbud this weekend, which was half an hour, 20 minutes from here, and he did the Indonesian kid thing after the finish line on Moto 2. That was kind of funny. I had a chuckle at that. I did not go to Redbud though this weekend. I had the opportunity. I had the availability of free tickets, but like, dude, it's so crowded. Rowdy. Yeah, it's so crowded and so rowdy up there that like you can't really even get super close to the track anymore because there's so damn many people that like they'll be out there at 5 a.m. setting up chairs along the fences and stuff. So like unless you stay up all night, which most people stay up all night there because it's just a freaking party fest because it's 4th of July weekend, you really can't get that much of a view. So you're sitting there watching the Jumbotron. Well, hell, I can watch it on TV at home with the same view as the Jumbotron with air conditioning and beer that's a tenth the price, or I can watch it on my phone in the pool floating with a beer in my hand. So like I didn't go. I think this is only the second time I haven't gone. I went last year. I didn't go the year before. So I think this is the second time I haven't gone, and I don't know that I'll go back. I'll probably go to Ironman in August in Crawfordsville because I like the track. I've raced on that track in the side-by-sides and GNCC. So the area is cool. The track layout's cool. But I don't know if I want to go for the Pro Motocross or if I want to go to the MX of Nations, which is like the world race. They're both at Ironman. One's in August and one's in October, I think. September. I don't know.
I'm trying
I
to
live at the
figure
base
out
of Dormant Volcano here in Portland.
Is that Mount Hood?
Mount Tabor.
Oh.
The big one in NorCal is Mount Shasta is acting up. I guess I better get my act together and go run the Rubicon and Fordyce before I can't. Before California breaks off and floats away.
Yeah. Yeah, before you need you can only get a flight to California. You can't travel any longer.
You gotta take a ferry boat across the canal.
Yeah, it's the Santa Barbara Canal.
Yeah. I also need to jump in the Jeep one day and head up to Drummond Island in the UP of Michigan too. I've ridden dirt bikes on Drummond a bunch of times and I've never taken the Jeep, and I want to do that. So it may be more difficult by then. Yeah, maybe.
Logistically or the actual terrain?
Both. Hell, by then you might not even be able to drive a vehicle in California that's not registered in California. Have to pass emissions at the border before you can come in or something.
Like, is that a combustion engine out here?
Yeah, that's not allowed in the state of California.
I heard the burble of a V8 under that hood. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. Did I see in the group chat guys talking about camping, the staying situation for Crawlapalooza yet?
I did not. Oh, I didn't see.
I was thinking about dragging the camper down and setting up down at Little Blue.
Oh, Blue.
At the base of Spillway 3 where the big water pools and everybody swims down in there.
Yeah.
On the other side of it there's a camping area over there.
That's right, yeah. Dude, so
I was thinking about doing that.
Let me know. So I'm waiting for a Red Bull Rampage to release the dates, but man, it'd be cool if I could link that. Go up to Virgin, Utah, which I found out is really close to Hurricane, so might as well make that a deal. But if I could loop that, take the long way to Oklahoma, that'd be kind of sick. But I feel like Rampage is like the beginning of October, so it kind of suck.
Yeah, when you're in Virgin, you can stop at the Virgin jail.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me in there, but
well, you can check out the Wild Ass Saloon then.
Oh yeah, there's a meeting there.
Virgin is just like a little tourist trap town about, I don't know, 5 to 10 miles outside of Zion. So you'll have to go to Zion if you're there because you're already there.
I was kind of peeping. I was looking at some maps today. I was like, I feel like I need to check these 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 things off my list.
Yeah. Why not camp at Hogan's? Because he'll
Oh
want fucking
God,
$700 a night. That dude is off his rocker for camping. Dude, the reason it moved from Hogan's to Two Moms was because Hogan wanted like $75 a
dude,
night for primitive campsites.
dude, I think the last time I was there, I think I footed $280 to
Yeah,
camp
it was
there
nuts.
from like Wednesday. This is no power, no. I don't have an RV. I actually no. I had my 80 series at the time with the awning room on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Literally sleep in my truck.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I felt like a big idiot paying
I
that
want to
kind
say
of
it
money.
was I want to say it was like 70 or $75 a night for
It was
primitive.
atrocious. Yeah. Um,
That's
terrible
hotel
Hogan
money.
joke, but
Exactly.
hell no, brother. On
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And the place is a shithole. The bathrooms are like
Yes.
ugh.
Take a shower and there's like the metal rods that are holding the thin plywood so you can't see the naked dude next to you. They're
Mm.
rusted from the anchors, so the metal
They just
rods
float.
sitting there floating. It's this jagged, rusty piece of metal by your feet. Yeah, so sick.
Yeah. No.
Love
So
that.
that's why it moved from Hogan's to Two Moms, which is literally this far away. It's right outside Hogan's gate. Yeah. So the chances of me staying at Hogan's is absolutely zero. I will boondock camp 20 miles away if I have to instead of staying at Hogan's.
Stay in Oklahoma City.
Yeah. Hogan has long been off his rocker. Yeah. I'll set that camper up in the fucking spillway before I camp at
It's
Hogan's.
kind of cool, man. It's quiet out there.
It is, but until the siren goes off and you got to pull your leveling jacks and hook up before you can get out of there.
I think at that point I would just drive with that stuff.
just yank the
Yeah,
jacks off the
just
camper.
it's whole camper or $400 in jacks.
I got insurance. Might get a new camper.
I don't know how insurance is around you. Down here, you're probably waiting a year. Dude, insurance is
Yeah,
like the biggest scam right now around here.
yeah. I can. Well, I'd imagine flood insurance is probably even worse now.
Oh, dude, it's probably, dude. Can you imagine if you went to cash in on that and they're like, yeah, you didn't see the new terms and conditions of your last re-signing. There's no flood.
Yeah,
Aren't they doing that in Cali for like fire stuff? I could be wrong. Could totally be just saying pulling crap out of mine.
yeah. I mean, if I didn't have flood insurance, I'd probably just burn the house down.
So it was raining and there's a fire. I don't know. I'm not a
Yeah,
scientist. I fix
I would have. I
motorcycles.
would have figured. I would have figured the rain would have put the fire out, but it didn't. So the house was burnt down before it flooded.
Yeah. At first, it was waves of flames. Then it was waves of water. It's the weirdest. I'm just as confused as you are.
Yeah. Fire insurance is separate from homeowners out here, just like flood is in most places. I can't even imagine trying to get fire insurance either, like in an area that has potential for wildfires. We don't, knock on wood, the only thing we have here is the occasional tornado. Um, we don't have alligators. We don't have hurricanes. We don't have wildfires. You know, I'm
I
not super far from a big ass river, but at the same time, it would that river would have to get real big before it ever got close to anything of mine. So
yeah. Well,
I'm
There's
Probably
enough
10,
soil
probably,
around you to soak up some
yeah.
water.
I'm probably a minimum of 2 to 3 miles, probably 2 miles from the river right here, and my house is probably 4 or 5 miles from the river. So it'd take a whole lot of water coming off Lake Michigan for that to happen.
Checkered. We're not talking about RCs today.
Yeah, no, we don't talk about RC cars on this
Weather.
show.
Weather events, dude. Come on, man.
Yeah. Actual tech question. For a fun line killer Oracle-based TGH clone trans, what OD for SSD 10.2 ring and pinion? As much overdrive as you can. Well, the TGH clone trans, so it'd be a 2-point low. That's already going to have 30% overdrive. I would probably just run regular. I wouldn't do any underdrive or overdrive ring and pinions. I'd probably just run the transmission. Run some extra brass on the front axle just if you're just doing a line killer. Luckily, I didn't buy in a fire area, but coworkers have to pay $500 to $600 a month for it in danger areas.
That's a
Dude.
scam.
Yeah, that's. And
Hey, brother.
then when a fire comes through, you get scammed. Then when a fire does come through, you're pulling teeth to try to get shit covered. You know,
Yeah.
they want you to. I had a buddy that.
Due to the high input of calls we're receiving, it's probably going to be about 4 months before we can get back to you.
Yeah, you're going to be out of your house for 2 to 5 years before we can even tell you that your claim is denied.
Scam.
Yeah, yeah. You got to have an itemized list of everything that's in the home with receipts to prove it, and
how many shingles are on your roof?
yeah, you better have backup receipts for everything because you know the fire just burned all your receipts, so you don't have them anymore.
Just to be clear, I'm not laughing at people who have house fires. I'm not laughing at literally the hoops people have to jump through to receive the aid that they pay for monthly.
Yeah, for sure. Just got off the phone with FedEx. Sorry, we thought we could get the package on the truck today, but didn't. Basically, F you. That's basically what they say. Sorry about you. It'll come when it comes.
A? Because it's Canada, right?
Pros. Yeah. Oh, yeah, A. Come
F
on.
you,
Does the skid machine for Josh's moon buggy for the twin trans add more ground clearance over the Vanquish one? Well, that Jimmy's buggy skid doesn't fit any regular Vanquish trucks. The side hole pattern is different, so there's really not a way to compare the ground clearance when using that skid to anything else. In the Rockabilly chassis, you can use the VRD Carbon or VRD Builder's Kit skid plate, or the Jimmy's buggy skid, but the way the chassis is built, the skid sits in the same place, so there's really no added clearance as far as that goes. So it's hard to say because, like I said, there's really not anything to compare it to. The transmission sits in the skid plate in a similar location to where the transmission would sit on the skid in a VRD Carbon. So like the stack height is pretty similar, but the hole spacing from the side to the bottom of the skid is going to be pretty similar. I'm going to say no, but it's hard to say. And no more FEMA. So hope you all are spiritual and thoughts and prayers will have to suffice. Yeah.
I think all that money was used up for holding illegals in fancy hotels in New York City.
No,
it probably wasn't much.
No, it was all spent on celebrity concerts, and they was used to pay for concerts to raise awareness
for candidates.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's true. That's what I heard. Dude. I come across so much wonky stuff. Um,
Yeah.
some of it I really hope's not true. The other stuff I'm like this. I feel like I'm in a Grand Theft Auto server sometimes. 'Cause I
Yeah,
don't know.
my dad and I were talking about that earlier today. It's
Grand
like,
Theft Auto.
sometimes yeah, you see some of these conspiracy theory things, and it's like, okay, in every conspiracy theory, there are certain things that are proven factual, right? So let's say you've got three statements. Okay, these three statements are factual. The conclusion you come to might not be the actual conclusion, right? But that doesn't change the fact that these three things are factual. You might still be a crazy motherfucker with the conclusion you came to, but it doesn't change that these things are factual. So
Yeah.
it's like, how much do you believe? How much do you think? I'm of the, if it doesn't affect me, I don't give a damn. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. Keep your shit
Uh,
on your side of the fence, and I don't care what you do over there. Let me do my shit over here. You do your shit over there. I'm going to live my life and just leave me alone.
I came across this reel that was talking about someone in Pecos County approved of this cloud seeding weather modification on July 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what's the time? It's literally like, anyway. I was like, I
Yeah.
gotta send this to a couple friends with no context just to see if they're like, I knew it, or if they're like, what
So
the heck is this?
that's what got my dad started earlier was he saw a similar thing. But I was like, okay, well, because I saw a different video about it, and I saw a video with an interview with a guy talking about weather modification, and he was supposedly a person that does it. So I still have this pulled up on my phone because I Google searched it. I searched California weather modification permit, and there is a
I did
permit
see permit.
process. There are permit processes, and there are certain regulations and certain things that you're allowed to do, and there are certain restrictions that the local government, wherever you're doing this, can put into place where, like, if there's too much fire scarring on in the area that could cause a flash flood through that zone. If you didn't heed their warnings and you did it anyway and it caused a flash flood, you could be liable for any damages, any loss of life, anything like that. Same thing with like snowpack. If there's too much snowpack and you make more snow and it causes an avalanche, it's your fault. So, but if you tell certain people they're cloud seeding, they're weather modifying it, they just look at you like you're a retard, and it's like, no, it actually happens. Whether that's what caused this disaster or not doesn't change the fact that it happened, right? So, like, the conspiracy theory, you could be a crazy dude on this side, but it doesn't change the fact that this does happen.
It's kind of
Whether it
wild.
caused this or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep my eyes pretty open. Some of that stuff I find funny, and then some of the stuff I'm like, I'm gonna have to really look into this. Like Half Hawaiian right here saying the frequency. I came
The,
across a
the
video
directed
of a dude talking about that frequency deal he's talking about, and I was like, huh, is that? It's kind of
or the
weird. It's weird
directed
stuff.
directed energy weapon stuff. I mean,
Yeah, there's
it's
some
all
weird.
it's all plausible. Whether that's actually what happened or not, I don't know because I'm not in it. But like, it's plausible.
I don't, I don't know much about it, although it's
Same.
intriguing.
But how much of it do you believe? Even, I mean, you could Google search it all day long, but how much of it can you actually believe? I mean,
Like the
you can read the exact same news story from two different news sources and gather two totally different outcomes from it when it's the same words in a different order. So, I,
really, I think what kind of opened my eyes to like, huh, maybe is then when they're talking about the Wuhan thing. Oh, that's just a conspiracy. It actually did come from. So
Hmm.
that's I'm like, wait, they're so quick to shut it down as you're a kook, but I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
goes
what we're
back
gonna
to the
end it off
Vietnam War.
tonight.
Yeah, welcome to Conspiracy Theory Hour on Brazen Scale RC.
Weather tonight.
Yeah, weather on the tens with Brazen Scale
Weather.
RC.
What a full hour of action-packed weather talk.
Out here bravely talking about the hard hitting issues in the hobby. Yeah,
We literally just talked about overdrive for like 30
10
seconds.
seconds. Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
I will
enough of the
say though,
RC talk. Back to the
yeah,
weather.
back to that clone transmission though. I will say, use caution. Use caution with that transmission. The the gears inside are a high quality gear. The shafts inside are high quality shafts. However, the gears are not pinned to the shaft. They're press fit to the shaft. So, if you get it bound up, you could spin the shaft inside the gear. And if that happens, it's not gonna hurt anything in theory, but it will start happening more and more and more frequently to the point where that gear is no longer going to grab the shaft. I did take one of those apart, and it did not take a ton of force to knock the gear off the shaft. Like I hit it with the handle end of my 2 millimeter driver. I set the gear on my bench vise with the shaft down in between the jaws, and I just tapped on the shaft with the end of my uh, driver, and it knocked the shaft right out of the gear. Yes, the 2-point low copy. So there really wasn't any splining or anything on the shaft. There was just a very minor amount of knurling on the shaft, and it's just a press fit on the gear. So if you get it bound up, it could spin that.
JB
JB
Weld.
weld it. Yeah, JB weld it back on. There's not enough clearance there for that. I will say that. Now I don't know what the gears are made out of, so there is a chance that maybe you could silver solder or braze the gear to the shaft, but I don't know how that would handle the heat of doing so, or a small TIG tack or something like that. I don't know how durable that would be, how it would affect the gear or the shaft, so I probably wouldn't recommend doing that. Um, Unfortunately, buying local isn't really much of an option at this point unless you find somebody that has, if you wanted a brand new one, you'd have to find a hobby shop that had purchased them, a year and a half, 2 years ago was probably the last run of them from TGH. So, um, finding a new one would be difficult. Maybe RC Addict has some still. I know he had a bunch of them when the copies came out. So he was a little butthurt because he had bought a lot of them. So
Sucks.
it's torn apart. I might open it again and look. I did crack it open and grease it. Usually not a bound up guy. I don't drive it too hard. And you may never have an issue, but I'm just pointing it out that is a potential failure point on that copy trans. Is TGH gone? TGH isn't gone per se. Chris did close the clubhouse and he did close the hobby shop section. And he moved everything back to his garage at his house. I don't believe he's doing a super great job of keeping up on anything. So I love Chris, but I'm not sure that I would order one directly from TGH currently without talking to Chris first. If you can get a hold of Chris and you can pin him down that he has one, FaceTime him with it in his hand, then maybe. But like,
So
he's a busy guy with real work stuff. So like, when he gets home, it's family time and bedtime, and he's up before the sun and back underground in the mine. So
yeah.
um,
That's kind of
No
what
one
I was
local has
thinking,
anything
James.
close. General hobby, no real specialty. That sucks. How about drilling a
Uh,
small hole in the gear and the shafts, pack some JB Weld putty in there, essentially? I
uh,
mean,
I was thinking if you could ping that center shaft and put a pin in there, and then maybe dremel out a slot in the gear.
that would be the way I would say to do it, would be to drill the shaft, make a mark on the shaft where the gear sets, take the gear off, drill the shaft, grind the gear. But in those transmissions, in the copy transmission, the gears are pretty narrow. They're a little narrower than the TGH ones are also. So there's not a whole lot of meat there. Um, but like I said, the gears and shafts seemed fairly high quality in the one that I had here that a local guy had bought. So I I don't know. I can't I find it very difficult to recommend that transmission purely based on the fact that it's literally a direct copy other than how the gears are attached to the shafts.
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of a bummer because that's kind of killed the used market too. Like if someone was selling one, I'd be like, dude, you're gonna have to split it open and show me. Like, I need to see
Yep.
the gears. Like,
Yeah.
there's no
The
way.
only the only benefit is that most of the Chinese ones are in different colors than what TGH offered, and the TGH ones, the EBR edition ones, were all in like engraved TGH on them, where the copies don't have that at all. But the early TGH transmissions, before they were made in the USA, didn't have the engraving in them. So, but they were only offered in raw or black. No, they weren't. They were raw, black, red, purple, or blue. But they're different colors. Even like the reds are different between the copy and the TGH one. So I have an OG Creeper, but it's a 3D case. That's old school. I have one of those also in a bin somewhere. I don't have any of the gears or shafts for it though, because they used pinion gears back then in them.
I got an old 3D printed one as well. It had the motor like inverted. I don't even recall what it was.
You had one. You had one that they were doing for the TRX4.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
I remember Chris sending that to you, and you're like, "Dude, this thing sucks."
The just the way to access the gear met the motor to do the gear mesh. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I hate TRX4s now.
yeah. I already didn't like them before, and now we're dealing with this crap.
Yeah, now you're giving me this.
Yeah.
Dang.
Beef tubes. Did you see the? We're beyond an hour now, so we can talk about RC stuff.
Yeah.
Did you see
Well,
the
you're in
beef tube sticker
the
sale
weather
thing?
power hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait. I saw a quick post. Fill me in. I just saw a picture and I was like, oh, here we go with Dan rant.
Well, so basically, Dan is trying to clear out a bunch of his personal hobby stuff, and so did a sticker sale, or is doing a sticker sale, and I want to say it was like 12 to 15 different RCs in general. A couple of them were like the rat rods. A couple of them were like the Red Cat ramp truck. One of the like a hydraulic car. His VS410 that's all painted John Deere green and yellow. An SCX6 tube chassis bouncer thing. All kinds of stuff. I mean, if you add it all up, it's probably in the $10,000 to $15,000 value new range. So like having a 1 in 100 chance of winning that stuff seems fairly reasonable. So not that I'm a super big Beef Tubes fan, but I did buy a ticket into that. So if I win it, I'll have to sell a bunch of shit.
Um, if you win that, can we video you running over that John Deere truck, like with a car or your Jeep?
No, but I will video. I will video spraying paint remover on it because it's a VS410 Origin.
Oh, so it's aluminum. Is it aluminum
Yeah,
axles? Oh, okay. I thought
yeah.
it was okay. I thought it was plastic housing. Oh,
No,
okay.
no, it's an Origin, so like it's
Yeah.
I don't think I would really want to run that over, but I will spray paint remover on it to get all the shit off it.
Could you just put that in the what's that ultrasonic cleaner? Would that
I don't know how much of it an ultrasonic cleaner would get off. I imagine like the transmission case and stuff like that. It may
just
take some of it off.
just mail that to Josh and have them clean it at VP?
Well, Josh had the Flex Seal truck, and he had to get all the Flex Seal off of one of them. Somebody had coated one in Flex Seal for some reason.
It'd just be funny to that truck ends up back at Vanquish.
If they had like maybe I could get them to put it on the shelf behind them during their Tuesday live stream.
Yeah, the infamous.
Yeah, because Dan's not a Vanquish fan, so that'd be good. I could mail it to VP and have him put it on the shelf back there.
If Josh is still watching, it's
comment
just,
yes or no if I can do
that. He just came for the weather. He didn't come for this.
Yeah, he came for the weather and conspiracy theories.
Yeah, this is the after weather news delight. This is namely this is a members only thing we're doing here.
Josh said I'll buy it personally.
We got
Yeah, that seems like a thumbs up to put it on the wall on the Tuesday live stream.
That'd be funny. I'd smile if I see that on the wall. Just back there.
It'd be perfect. Checkered, yeah. Watching the hat on Josh's head move further and further back on how he streamed, got doing the Flex Seal live. Yeah, if you ever see my hat getting further and further back, I'm either stressed out or hammered. Like, oh man. All right. Well, it's after 9:00. I'm ready to go home. I'm gonna have to drive my freaking truck home because I bent the steering in the freaking Jeep.
Well, it's like, how many dash lights do you want to see? Do you want the pickup one with just check engine light, or do you want?
I already fixed that. I fixed the truck, so.
Oh, okay.
That just was 2 wires I had to fix, but I don't know if the truck has any freaking gas in it, though, is the problem.
Oh, there's always something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we'll get out of here for the night, and I don't even know what the date is for next Monday. There is going to be one Monday that I'm not available. The kid has some sort of camp, so I've got to do that.
Camp? No, don't do it too soon for camp talk, dude. Jesus.
I don't know if anybody heard a thing you just said, because I couldn't. You blacked out and locked up for a second.
Watch the weather. Too soon for camp talk, man. Jesus.
Yeah. All right, we'll get out of here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, all 20-something of you guys that check in with us. We'll see you guys on the next one.
10 minutes of RC talk.
Yeah. Later.